Western propaganda is a hell of a drug because it has you believing that Western civilization is responsible for all the cumulative technological advances that have given us computers, smartphones, modern forms of travel, and modern medicine. But did you know that none of these achievements were possible without the religion of Islam? I'm pretty sure you didn't, because nowhere in our official history books does it mention how the Arab Empire's love for science, technology, and knowledge saved Western civilization from the book-burning Roman Christian Empire. Okay, we start with the year 285 BC, when Egyptians constructed the Great Library in Alexandria to collect and house all of the world's written information, making the Egyptian city the world's capital for knowledge and learning. Every conceivable piece of human knowledge was housed at the Great Library. Its sole purpose was to help the world advance technologically, allowing scholars to build on the work of others who came before them. Eventually it became home to 500,000 written texts and our earliest great human discoveries.
Eratosthenes not only realized the Earth was round, but calculated its circumference and diameter within a few miles of their actual size. Heron of Alexandria created the world's first steam engine over 1,000 years before it was finally reinvented during the Industrial Revolution.
The Great Library existed for 6 centuries, but in roughly 400 AD, the Christian Pope issued a decree to have the Great Library destroyed, because he feared science and knowledge would threaten the growth of Christianity and therefore the Roman Empire. This crime is said to have set human civilization back a full 1,000 years, having destroyed texts that pointed to the future of technological and scientific progress. But as good fortune would have it, human civilization gets a lucky break when the Persian Emperor Shapur the Great establishes his own Great Library, or what he calls the Great Academy of Gondeshapur, in what is Iran today.
In Gondeshapur, he builds an academy that will be the Persian equivalent to the Great Library. And he starts collecting books. He's having trouble getting Roman books because the Romans and the Persians hate each other so much, but he's having no trouble getting Chinese texts and Indian texts. And so he's adding those to the Persian knowledge. Lao Tzu, he gets Lao Tzu, one of the greatest philosophers in human history.
The Academy in Gondeshapur soon becomes a destination of refuge for scholars and scientists who fled persecution from the book-burning Roman Christian Empire in the 6th century, taking with them texts they had saved from the Great Library in Alexandria and later the Academy of Athens. 1 century later, in the year 632, the religion of Islam arrives on the Arab Peninsula, and within just a few decades, Prophet Muhammad, despite being outnumbered, out-resourced, and undermanned, leads these Muslims to victory over the centuries-old Roman and Persian empires.
No way the Arabs should prevail. Within a few decades, they completely conquer the Persian Empire. It was 1,200 years old at that point. Can you imagine a 1,200-year-old empire? You can't comprehend it not being there.
In the period spanning roughly 80 years, from 632 to 711 AD, the Arab Empire reached from Pakistan to Spain, making it the largest empire the world has ever known. But contrary to Western propaganda, Muslims weren't forcibly converting populations by the sword. In fact, there were no recorded mass killings or genocides of non-Muslim populations under Arab Muslim rule, which made the Arab Empire uniquely peaceful and tranquil in comparison to all empires that had come before it. In fact, only 2% of the Arab Empire was Muslim, but it ruled over 60% of the world's Christian population. But what made the Arab Empire really stand out from the leaders of the Roman Christian Empire was that the Muslims were humble and intellectually honest in proactively seeking out knowledge and scientific understanding.
The Arabs walked into Gondeshapur after conquering it. And they turned to the Persians and they went, "What's that?" And the Persians go, "It's an academy." The Arabs go, "Cool, what is that?" They go, "It's a repository of all the knowledge of the world that we know of." And the Arabs go, "Show us." And the Persians go, "What choice do we have? Take them in." And the Arabs go, "Teach us." And the Persians go, "What choice do we have? We will."
Around about this time, a Muslim by the name of Al-Kindi comes along and builds on the works of the ancient philosophers that came before him, while also translating many of the Academy's books into Arabic from Greek, which suddenly gave Arabs access to these writings. This access paved the way for the greatest mathematical discovery in human history, when a man named Muhammad al-Khuzami started studying Hindu mathematics at the academy in Gonde Shapur.
Khwarazmi invents algebra and Arabic numerals. So the next time you're doing math, remember to thank al-Khwarazmi that you're not using an abacus to do Roman numerals, which are impossible. Really try. Set up Roman numerals, put a minus sign under it, and try and subtract Roman numerals from Roman numerals. You'll tear your hair out. Forget multiplication and division. Al-Khwarazmi creates a math system that you can work on.
Without algebra, there's no algorithm. And without algorithms, then there are no computers, smartphones, space travel, or social media. Which means YouTube and the CJ Werleman Show is made possible only because of the mathematical brilliance of a Persian Muslim from the 9th century. But hang on just a minute, because your mind is about to be really blown. You see, we Westerns have been led to believe that the Italian physicist Galileo Galilei established a scientific method in the 16th century. But Galileo's discoveries were built upon the works of a Muslim named Hassan al-Haytham, who wrote the Book of Optics a full 6 centuries before Galileo was born. It was al-Haytham who came up with the scientific method, or what is the process of establishing facts through testing and experimentation, which makes al-Haytham, a Muslim, the world's first scientist.
What I find so impressive about Ibn al-Haytham is how once he arrives at his mathematical theories, he then uses them to extend our knowledge of the real world. So, for instance, he used his new ideas about light to deduce that the Earth's atmosphere is of a finite thickness. And he even estimated what that thickness is.
Arab Muslims not only invented modern agriculture and modern plumbing, but also founded the coffee industry by bringing coffee beans from Ethiopia to Yemen and then planting them in the province of Yemen called, funnily enough, Mocha. But while Muslims were racking up these groundbreaking technological advances, the Spanish began conquering Muslim-controlled territory in Europe, and with it sabotaging the great scientific advances of the Arab Empire.
When the Spanish were conquering Spain from the Muslims, they kept encountering libraries. The popes kept issuing edicts to burn all the books, just like when they had burnt the Great Library and just when they shut down the Academy of Athens. They wanted to continue this. The thinking went, you only need one book, it's the Bible, why are we doing this science stuff? We don't need this. What we need to do is purge the libraries of all these books that make me feel uncomfortable. Oh no, that's now. Oh wait, no, that was then too. It's so confusing how nothing changes.
Thankfully, however, a group of Christian monks defied the Pope's order to burn books by setting up an underground system to transport and keep safe critically important texts from falling into the hands of book-burning Christians. Many of these writings were kept safe by Muslims in Muslim-controlled lands. Eventually, Europe would emerge from its dark ages, but only after discovering the scientific and technological advances Muslims had enjoyed for centuries in the Middle East.
The Crusades end in 1291. After the Crusaders start coming back, they go, you know what we saw when we were there murdering all those Muslims and Jews? They had indoor plumbing and medicine and crop rotation. They're talking about things have gravity and that light has a finite speed and that the universe originates from a point of information. And the Italians go, oh wow, that's so cool. Let's do that here.
Wrongly, we've been indoctrinated with the idea that standing in the way of Western technological and moral superiority is the backwards and repressive Eastern Hemisphere. But it's important to understand that Islamophobia is constructed on the fallacy that Islam is a superstitious and backwards belief system that holds the Muslim world back from moral and technological progress, when in fact it was European Christianity that tried to destroy mankind's most significant scientific discoveries. In other words, Islam saved Western civilization from destroying itself.